There was once a woman I loved deeply, a woman whose life I entered with sincerity and effort and the simple desire to care. I drove long distances to see her, repaired things around her house, helped her in her store. I cooked meals and listened to her frustrations, and even shared intimacy that at times felt genuinely tender and real. Yet over time I began to sense that beneath the affection, our nervous systems were operating from different maps of safety. Mine leaning toward emotional transparency and reflection, and the belief that closeness grows through honest articulation of inner experience. And hers, leaning toward control of the environment, controlling language and emotional tone as a means of maintaining stability. Now, she was drawn to spiritual symbols, crystals, statues, workshops, and teachings, and she carried the vocabulary of growth culture very fluently. But what I noticed in actual lived moments of emotional exchange, there was something else that would surface. It was a need to correct, redirect, or prohibit expressions that felt to her destabilizing, even when those expressions were actually gentle reflections about my own past or simple offerings of empathy. And what appeared outwardly as spiritual awareness sometimes functioned inwardly as protection against emotional uncertainty. I remember one particular evening after a long day in which she had struggled at work. I prepared a dinner for her, and when she came home, I listened as she vented frustration. But when I softly responded with, "You poor thing," intending only warmth and sympathy, her reaction was immediately and forceful. It was a rejection of the phrase that I used, a prohibition against its use. And in that moment, something crystallized within me, something I had been sensing, something I had been actually ignoring, yet could not yet name. I realized that our interactions were increasingly shaped by what I now understand as word policing, where language becomes less a bridge of connection and more a terrain of regulation. In studying neuroscience, I realized that it offered a clarifying lens here. Emotional safety is not constructed through perfect phrasing, but through the act of co-regulation, affect labeling, and non-reactive witnessing. These are processes that have been shown to calm threat circuitry and support integrative neural networks. By contrast, suppression, correction, and enforced positivity can elevate threat perception and diminish relational attunement. The attempt to control words in order to control reality often reflects an underlying nervous system strategy of protection rather than a validated pathway to healing. What unfolded between us was therefore not a debate about philosophy, but a lived demonstration of mismatch. My bids for intimacy through authentic speech meeting her bids for safety through linguistic control. And despite genuine caring, shared experiences, and repeated attempts to repair the distance, the relational field could not reliably hold both our needs simultaneously. Months later, after I established some boundaries and texting and reconnection, and one final visit in which our conversation again centered on my perceived missteps, while my experience of unsafety remained unrecognized. I lay awake in her guest room with a quiet clarity that felt less like decision and more like recognition. The love I felt was present, but mutual regulation was not. So in the morning, I said, "This is goodbye." It was an act that echoed her deepest fear while honoring my own nervous system's truth. And in the years since then, non-reactive intelligence has given language to what was then only felt. That presence is more healing than correction. That authenticity regulates more deeply than positivity. And that intimacy depends less on shared beliefs than on shared capacity to remain open when another speaks from lived vulnerability. And I offer this story not as a critique of the person that I loved, but as a reflection on a cultural pattern, especially one that can be witnessed within spiritual communities, where controlling words, thoughts, and expressions are mistaken for transformation, while the quieter discipline of listening without reactivity is often overlooked. So the insight that remains here is simple, yet it is profound. Words influence experience, but presence transforms it. When relationships require the continual management of one's expression in order to preserve harmony, the nervous system quietly withdraws, even as affection remains. And the unfettered life is not free of loss, but it is free of the compulsion to stay where authenticity cannot breathe, allowing love to be honored without proximity, and clarity to emerge without blame. May peace be with you.